Hello and welcome to another IB Mathematical Studies video. In this one I'm going to be talking about units of measurement. You've all heard about minutes, miles, and you've all had situations where a distance was given in meters or yards and you had to find out about what one meant or the other meant and have to translate them. A very common one is from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So there's too many units of measurement and it can be confusing at times. So what we have done, what people have done, is they found a consensus, which means an agreement of which ones to use, a standard, so that we all know what we're talking about. Now this standard is the Système International, the SI, or the international system. And just like the seven wonders, there's seven of them, okay? So, for example, for length, you might think, well, we can have yards and meters and kilometers. The main one is going to be the meter and the rest are going to be derived, okay? And that's a very important thing to realize, because you might think, well, so what about kilometers? Well, all we do is 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, so our baseline is still going to be the meter. And same thing goes for mass, for time, for electric current, for temperature, for amount of substance, and for light. And these are going to be the symbols of the Système International, of the SI. Everything else is calculated from these. So basic converting, and this is the kind of thing you're going to be needing to do in the exam. For example, converting this 2,843 meters to kilometers, all you have to do is divide by 1,000. Always think about it, remember to estimate, because at the end what's going to happen is that you're going to need to figure out that if you do the calculation and it gives you that 2,000 meters is 2 million kilometers, obviously nothing is wrong. Remember to do your estimate and use common sense. A very typical one is to do it the other way around, so you might have often like things like this, 0.00 something. And this is where scientific notation is going to come in very often, because we're going to be having calculations where we're going to be dealing with 10 to the power of something. When we talk about derived units, we have to be careful with some of these kind of derived units, because there are some common mistakes people will do. The first one to always remember is the area, which is measured in square meters. Volume is measured in cubic meters. Speed is measured in meters per second. And you can see that despite the fact that people are thinking, well, isn't volume measured in liters? We'll talk about this in a minute. Indeed, most commonly we refer to volume in liters. But if you derive directly from the Système International, we're going to find out that we're going to be measuring in cubic meters. And the liter is just a derived unit from the cubic meter, okay, which is going to be our derived unit of volume, which is derived the unit of length, which is the meter. It sounds a little bit confusing, it just makes sense. Remember, there's just the 7 basic ones. So here's a typical exam exercise. Frank drives 100 kilometers in 1 hour and 20 minutes. What's his speed? Now, always keep an eye on what units we're given. Hours, minutes, kilometers. He's going to a city which is 450 kilometers away. How long will it take him to get there? Well, convert is really what this exercise is about. So just use your common sense. 60 minutes in 1 hour, 60 seconds in 1 minute. Do the multiplications, and we're going to put it in seconds. We're putting it in the SI. Convert the kilometers to meters. And now we can do the operation and we're going to get the speed. Simple as that. And now we've solved the rest of the exercise, and we're going to get an amount of time which is going to be expressed in seconds. If you don't say so, you can just leave it in seconds. And this is the most usual mistake, okay? So big warning here, because this is where people fail all the time. When you change from square meters to square centimeters, it's not 1 meter equals 100, it's squared. The 10 gets squared. In this case, the 100 gets squared. So 100 squared is 10,000, and this is the right way of converting. This is what you have to multiply by. Okay? And for cubic is the same. You have to cube the tens. So is not that it's one cubic meter is 10,000 cubic centimeters. It's going to be 1 million cubic centimeters. On this one should be a 3 here, my mistake. Okay. And finally, a word on liters, very simple. A liter, which is something that we're all very used to seeing everywhere, is just a decimeter, a cubic decimeter, okay? Which is a decimeter. If you have 1 meter, decimeter is the same thing as 10 decimeters, which is the same thing as 100 centimeters. So it's just a unit that's in between centimeters and meters. It's the decimeter. And the cubic decimeter is going to be the liter. Think about it, it makes sense. Obviously a liter is going to be something useful, it's going to be a unit that we use a lot, so it's going to have an easy way to refer to the Système International. So it's obviously not going to be a cubic kilometer, that would be very big. Cubic meters also sounds too big. Cubic centimeter sounds a bit too small. That's what it is. Okay? So just keep that in mind and remember this one. This is a very important one. It's going to appear in the exam for sure. And you're going to have to remember this. So that's everything. Thank you very much for watching.